All right, definitely appreciate the feedback on the improv stuff. So, because improvising is not really a thing you having much fun with or too interested in, we'll go ahead and move forward from that or move on from that. Of course, if you ever want to work on that again, just let me know, or just dive into making stuff or improvising again on your own. Or maybe like when you start, like you said, like the creative side of things isn't, or you're not too interested in the creative side of things. I think that's what it was. But if you ever do start writing riffs and you want to put things together, you could certainly start adding your own solos to that, whatnot. But if not, you're just content, as you said, doing the grind, playing things, having fun that way. Totally fine. Totally fine. But all right. So reverse Gallup this week, and because you said the starting on the A string was kind of where some of the struggle was for the previous thing, that's why we're doing most of the stuff starting there. So here we go, 60 beats per minute. Number one, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 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 done. 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 again. Alright, 140. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. $150 for the repeats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So let's get you some more practice and experience with this way of sweeping. We'll use the A minor arpeggio this time. 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. $120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, number 3. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do the first one for you. And so those diminished chords that you learned, very important. You're going to use those shapes. And the worksheet you did, where you filled out all those notes for the different major scales, that's going to be used here as well. And it's like the whole circle of fifths thing, I think we talked about it. Please tell me if we didn't. We should have, because that's basically what you did. Now let me just pull it up. Just in case we didn't, let me pull that up. I know you filled it in. So let me just pull up this image. on. There. All right, so basically, when you filled out those notes for the key C major, well, after that, the key C major filled in first, so, C through B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, made the key of C, or then C as well, so C, basically, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, all the natural notes, and the next key that you had to fill in was the key of G, which was G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So I had one sharp. And then the second key you filled in was the key of D. So that would give you D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And then after that you filled in the key of A. So A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So that's basically right here how you were filling things out. You had the key of C filled in already to start, so you had the example. And then you did the key of G next. Then you did the key of D, then the key of A, key of E, and so on. And then we actually did the key of C sharp as well, which that had 7 sharps. So when you're going through the chord thing I'm about to discuss, you're going to see here how you have key signatures and increasing sharps. And eventually we go to the flat symbols. So the key signature here, telling you it's a key signature because it tells you what key you are in. So this is the key with 1 flat, key with 2 flats, 3 flats, 4, and so on. So first we do the key, we start with the key of C because it has no sharps, no flats. And then we do the sharp keys. And then after that we do the flat keys. So when I say sharp keys and flat keys, it basically means keys that have sharp notes within them and keys that have flat notes within them. So like the key of F has a flat in it, but you don't say the key of F flat. Well, you could. We could have it F flat. Anyway, so like the key of G, I call that a sharp key, or a key with sharps in it because it has an F sharp, even though G is a natural note. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. So basically, that's what you're going to be doing. Just so remember, when you're looking at key signature stuff, I mean, you can reference the this image, which you need to bring back up, and go that way because that'll tell you exactly what key you're going to be doing according to how many sharps are shown in the key signature. Same thing with the flats. But if you don't have this image handy and you just want to know what key is what, when maybe you're playing a piece of music, you see that the tablature has a key signature listed, you can kind of quickly say, like, okay, well, if that's 3 sharps, then you'll know, or you can do it like this. So say the key has 3 sharps, and you can't remember which key has the 3 sharps. So you start with C and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you land on G. Okay, so G has 1 sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's D. Alright, so the key of D has 2 sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You land on A. Alright, key of A, that has 3 sharps. So the piece of music has 3 sharps in the key signature. You note things are going to be based on starting that Ionian shape on the A note there. And then you have your B Dorian. And then you'd have your C sharp Phrygian. And then you have D Lydian. And so on. So basically, it kind of like tells you in advance, like, okay, well, these are the shapes, or these are where your scale shapes will be. These are the types of chords you're going to be playing, and so on. So, yeah, this is, again, combining stuff that you worked on already with the major scale thing. And now you're going to be putting chords to it. We're going to use as many open chords as possible. But as you go from one key to the next with increasing sharps or increasing flats, the less open chords you can use. And when I say open chords, that just means a chord that contains at least one open string. So, like a D minor, that has one open string, and that's an open D minor. So, 1. The 1, 4, 5 are always major. The 2, 3, and 6 always minor. 7th is always diminished. So the last chord you put in here will always be diminished. You're always going to start with the major chord. So 1 is always major. So again, the 1, 4, and 5, always major. 2, 3, and 6 are always minor. And the 7th is always diminished. So, I don't know. Well, yeah, you played some of these already. So, like in the chord arpeggio thing you did last time, you went A minor, B diminished, C major, B diminished, A minor. So, when you're starting with this, you think, all right, well, so the first note in that key, so it has no sharps, no flats. So again, you know it's the key of C because of that. So then we know C is the root note for the first chord. We know that the 1 chord is always major. So it's C major. You know it's C major. And it's that chord that you played. 3, 2, 0, 1. So you're going to just basically type it in. And then we also want to hit the high E string as well. And then what you do, I need to change the setting again. You're going to hit the letter A. We've already done some stuff where you label chords, didn't we? I think you did with power chords. Sometimes it's hard to remember with all the people I work with. But yeah, just type in the letter A or hit the letter A. It'll bring up your chord diagram thing. I would turn display diagram off so you don't have a big old mess at the top of the page. But if you typed in the chord correctly, you tabbed it out correctly, the right name's going to come up. Now, one exception could be something like, what would that be? Well, let's say you had F flat diminished in a key. So even though the key signature is set up in Guitar Pro, it's not going to say F flat diminished in the chord box that pops up. It will say E diminished because it's not considering the fact that you're in a specific key. So that's an exception to when the proper chord name won't pop up right away. So that's just something to be aware of. Now, most of this stuff, the correct chord name is going to show. But if the chord, yeah, it's just like if it starts on one of those odd things where like it's an F flat to be a proper note name instead of an E. Stuff like that. So just be aware of that. So just remember, like, you can't have 2 different kinds of E's in key. You can't have 2 kinds of F's in key. You can't have like an F and an F flat. You can't have an E and an E flat. It's got to be one or the other. So when you're going through the stuff and you notice that happens in the chord names, like maybe it'll say like something like E minor, or like maybe it'll say like E flat minor and then E diminished right after that. So like chord number 6, you put in E flat minor, and then chord number 7, you type out the notes, and then it says E diminished. Okay, well, it can't be E diminished because we just had E flat minor. It needs to be F flat minor to be technically correct. So just little things like that to pay attention to, follow in these theory rules that have been laid out for us. Who made them? I don't know. I just follow them. So anyway, continuing on here. Chord number 2. Second note in the key of C is D. So that's the root note of the second chord. Second chord is always minor, so it's D minor. And in case you don't know it, this is the D minor. Chord number 3. The next note in key is E. E minor chord. You did play that when you did the E minor to F sharp diminished. You did part of a G chord. And there's the full E minor chord. F major. This is typically done as a full bar chord. There's easier versions if need be, but definitely try doing the full chord if you can. So, well, let's say we're going to be doing this, and this is important, what I'm about to say, in order for you to get as many of these chords down as possible. And if you don't finish this within the week, that's okay. Just get as much done as you can, and then, You know, you can also like send stuff over to make sure you're doing it right, things like that. Of course, I won't be checking anything else, any emails until Sunday after I send off everyone's stuff today. But yeah, just do what you can. Send stuff over when you want to. You don't have to wait for the full week because you want to just make sure things are looking okay. If you have any questions, you know, send stuff over. I'll let you know how it's looking. But anyway, so I got E minor. So you can also look at it like this. If you hold the chord this way, I'm not saying you need to do it that way, but if you did, you could also pretend like you're laying your finger across the strings here behind the nut. So that is like how bar chords work. Like you're taking an open chord and just moving it around. So everywhere you move this shape on all 6 strings, that's a minor chord. So same idea with what's about to happen here. Basically, we're going to take that minor shape, move it up a half step, and then make it major. So we got to put that middle finger down on the G string to turn it into a major chord. Okay, so type that out. So basically, like, look at this E minor right here. If I change the G note to a G sharp, that is an E major. So that's E minor. So if I wanted this F major chord to become an F minor, I would take that A note and turn it into an A flat. So major, minor. All right, now the G chord, well, that's next. So yeah, the next note in key is G. It's the 5th chord in key, so it's major. So, whoops, we use that much in the arpeggio stuff that you played. I like doing the full G chord like that. Now, a lot of times you'll see a G chord this way, where the open B string is used, and that's totally fine. It's still a G chord. I like to use the one where the D note is being played again. So basically a G chord consists of G, B, D. Those 3 notes make a G major chord. G, B, and D. So after this, you got another G. There's another D, but you could do a B instead, and then there's a 3rd G. So basically, as long as you have those 3 notes, the G, B, and D, you can mix them up any way you want, duplicate them any way you want at various octaves, and it's still a G chord. All right, and yeah, you're using that G chord in the sweep picking stuff. So G, B, D, G, B, D. And then you can get fancy eventually and use finger tapping to extend it. Because you could tap all the way up on that G note as well. Missed the note. Anyway, 6. So the next note in key is A. It is the 6th chord in key, so we know it is minor. So the A minor chord that you were playing, that's the one we're going to use here. And finally, the next note is B. It's the 7th chord in key. It's diminished, so it's that B diminished shape that you've learned. There you go. So that B diminished shape, basically anytime you have a diminished chord that makes sense to start on the A string, use that shape. So let's say you have a C diminished. Just play it there. If it's a C sharp or a D flat diminished, depending on what key you're in, you play it there. If it is a D diminished, you can play that there. If it's a D sharp or E flat diminished, you can play it there. Now, after that, if it's an E diminished, well, I think what you want to do, you take your F sharp diminished chord and you move that down. That's F diminished. One more and you got E diminished. So basically, like E diminished, you can play open, so you're not having to jump way up here. Then you can do your F diminished like that, F sharp diminished, and just move that chord around. G diminished, A flat or G sharp diminished, and then there's A diminished, which you could just do open anyway. So you could do your B diminished, B flat diminished, or A sharp diminished. And there you go. And so yeah, when like major chords, if you need to do something like a G sharp or A flat major, just use the bar chord like that. If you need to make it minor, do it like that. Now for the minor chords, like let's say you got A sharp minor. So there's your A minor. Remember how I demonstrated moving the E minor up like that? Same thing here. There's your A minor. You want it to be A sharp minor, you got to sharpen everything. So we got to move that bar up. Same thing if you have like C sharp minor. Just do that. Now if it's major, this is what I like to do for the major chord. Just 4 strings. So like a C sharp major would be 4th fret on the A string, and then 6, 6, 6. That was unintentional. It just happened to be that. How metal. Basically, I just lay my 3rd finger across those 3 strings. And yeah, it's all bent. Well, not bent. It's like at this, kind of at an angle right there. Because it feels okay. And I can hear the notes. You could do it like this. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, if you take an A minor chord, take the C note here and raise it up a half step to A sharp, that makes it major. So that's A major, A minor. Let's see. But yeah, you could do a bar chord like this for the majors, but I like to keep it simple and just do it that way. Some people can actually... Oh my god. It's really weird. They do like a double bar. Yeah, it's so uncomfortable. It's so weird. And I think it's so unnecessary. But, hey, if you can do that, neat. I suck at it. And I have no reason to get better at it. Because I can just do it like this. Anyway. So yeah, fill out what you can. When I send this thing over to you, it will all be blank. So you can input everything on your own too. But reference this video. And of course you got the next set of scales. 2 strings at a time. Well, next set of scales. It's the same scales. Just looking at it differently. 2 strings at a time. Alright, I think that covers it all. Any questions, let me know. I'll see you again next week in your new videos.